Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into a
Sure.
topic that I think a lot of us can relate to.
I think so.
It's leading without authority.
Yeah.
How do you get things done when you're not the boss?
Right.
You're not the one calling the shots,
Exactly.
but you still need to rally people. You need to get buy-in,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to achieve results.
Right.
So we're going to be digging into a book called Results Without Authority by
Mhm.
Tom Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
And just really trying to extract some of those key strategies and tactics that we can put to use in our own lives.
I think it's a situation that so many people find themselves in.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, they have to lead projects or initiatives,
Right?
but they don't have that formal authority of a manager.
Right. It's like, I've got this great idea.
Yeah.
I've got this vision of where we need to go.
Mhm.
But how do I get everyone on board?
Right. How do you herd the cats
Yes.
when you don't have the whip,
I love that.
so to speak?
Yeah. And I think Kendrick really breaks this down in a way that's very approachable.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that he talks about, and this might sound a little bit dry at first, but it's actually quite brilliant,
Yeah.
is the power of process.
Processes.
Yeah, he uses this great bowling analogy.
Okay.
Have you ever been bowling?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so you know those bumpers
Yes.
that they put up for little kids?
Yes.
Or for,
Or for me.
Yeah, exactly.
To make sure the ball doesn't go in the gutter.
So he says good processes
Yes.
are like those bumpers.
I see.
They help to keep your project on track,
Right.
even when you don't have that formal authority.
Okay, that makes sense because
They keep everybody in line.
if you have a good process in place,
Yeah,
then people will tend to follow it, even if you're not there to
exactly.
enforce it.
It's like the rules of the game
Mm-hmm.
are already established.
Exactly.
So now the question is, okay,
Yeah.
if I'm not the boss, how do I actually establish those processes in the first place?
That's a great question. And that's where it becomes important to involve the team
Okay.
in defining those processes.
So it's a collaborative approach.
It is.
Okay, so instead of me coming in and saying, this is how we're going to do it,
Right.
it's more about,
It's more about getting buy-in
yeah.
from the team.
And how would you go about doing that?
So you could have a meeting
Yeah.
where you brainstorm
Okay.
different ideas for processes.
Yeah.
And you get input from everyone.
Uh-huh.
And then you can refine those processes and get agreement.
And I guess when people feel like they've had a voice
Right.
in creating those processes,
Yeah.
they're more likely to follow them,
They're bought in.
even if I'm not the one cracking the whip.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so that's a really interesting mind shift because I think
Yeah.
a lot of times when we think about leading without authority, we think, well, I've got to kind of convince people or cajole people into doing things. But this is more about,
It's more about setting up the structure
yes,
and the framework.
and then letting it work its magic.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so,
So one tool that Kendrick highlights for this
okay.
is the is not list.
The is not list. Okay.
Have you ever heard of this?
I have not. Tell me more.
So it's basically a document
Okay.
that outlines what is included
Okay.
in the project scope and what is not included.
So it's like setting those boundaries up front.
Exactly.
Okay, I can already see how this would be helpful because I know that one of the challenges of leading without authority
Mhm.
is that people might try to take advantage.
Yes. Scope creep?
Yes, scope creep. It's like, oh, well, while we're at it, can you just add this?
Yeah.
And then
so-
suddenly you're doing a completely different project.
Right. And it's hard to push back
Right.
when you don't have that authority.
But if you have this is not list,
Mm-hmm.
you can say,
It's
well,
not on the list.
right, we agreed upon this up front.
Exactly.
This is outside of our scope.
It manages expectations.
Yes. I love that it's like a shield
It is.
against scoop creep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got these processes in place.
Mm-hmm.
We're using tools like the is not list to keep things on track.
Yes.
But even with all of that,
Right.
you still need to get people on board with your vision.
Yes, you need to be able to influence them.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
So Kendrick talks about different types of power
Hmm.
that you can tap into even without formal authority.
Okay.
One of them is the power of expertise.
Expertise. Okay, so this is basically
Now, this is basic.
leveraging your knowledge and your skills
Exactly.
to kind of position yourself
To gain respect.
as the go-to person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see how that would be really valuable because
Yes.
even if you can't tell people what to do,
Right.
if you are seen as the expert,
Mm-hmm.
they're more likely to
Listen to you.
listen to you, yeah, and respect your opinion.
Exactly.
Okay, and that expertise doesn't necessarily have to be technical expertise, right?
No, it could be about the specific project.
Uh-huh.
It could be about the stakeholders.
Right.
It could be about the industry.
Anything that gives you that,
That unique perspective.
yeah, that edge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's really about building that reputation
Exactly.
as someone who knows their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that can really shift the dynamic, I think.
It does.
Instead of people thinking, oh, they can't tell me what to do,
Right.
they're thinking, I wonder what their take is on this.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they have some good insights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. But
Good.
expertise alone isn't always enough, is it?
No, sometimes you need a little more.
Yeah, sometimes you need to be a little bit more strategic.
Right.
And how do you do that?
So Kendrick talks about things like strategic questioning.
Okay.
Instead of just asking any old question,
Yeah.
you're crafting questions
Uh-huh.
that will reveal hidden issues
Okay.
or guide people towards a particular solution.
So it's a little bit more subtle
It is.
than just saying, do this.
Exactly.
It's more about kind of leading them down a path.
It is guiding them
Yeah.
to the right answer.
Okay, I like that. And I guess
Yeah.
when you frame it as a question,
Mm-hmm.
it feels less like you're telling them what to do
Exactly.
and more like you're...
You're collaborating.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what else?
Well, then he talks about building alliances.
Okay, alliances.
So this is about building relationships
Okay.
with your peers,
Mm-hmm.
with people in higher positions,
Okay.
and finding common ground, offering support.
So it's not about sucking up.
No,
It's about,
it's about building genuine relationships.
yeah, and creating a network
Exactly.
of people who trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I guess there's strength in numbers, right?
Absolutely.
If you can present a united front,
Yeah,
it's much harder to dismiss your ideas.
exactly.
Okay, so we've got
processes.
we've got processes,
We've got
we're building alliances.
Mhm.
What else do we need to have in our toolkit?
measurement.
Measurement. Oh boy, here we go.
I know people groan when they hear that word.
I know, I'm already thinking spreadsheets,
Right.
charts.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
Okay, well, how does Kendrick approach measurement?
So he advocates for using the right metrics
The right metrics, okay.
to track progress,
Mm-hmm.
to identify potential problems,
Yeah.
and to demonstrate the value of your work.
So not just the typical time and budget metrics, it's more holistic than that?
Exactly.
Okay, so give me an example of some of the right metrics.
So you could look at team morale,
Okay.
you could look at customer satisfaction,
Uh-huh.
and you could even look at the impact
Right.
of the project on the overall organization.
So it's really about painting that big picture
It is.
of how this project is contributing to the success of the organization.
Exactly. And I think this is especially important when you're leading without authority,
Okay. Why is that?
because it allows you to showcase the impact of your leadership
Mm-hmm.
beyond just ticking boxes.
So it's not just about getting things done.
Right.
It's about getting the right things done.
Exactly. And in a way that benefits everyone.
I love... Okay, well, we have covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But I know there's so much more to unpack.
There is.
So stay with us as we continue our deep dive
Yes.
into results without authority. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Welcome back. All right. So let's dive into some more specific situations
Okay.
where you might need to lead without authority.
Yeah.
So Kendrick actually goes through
Mm-hmm.
the entire project life cycle,
Okay.
from kickoff to closure.
Yeah.
And he provides all sorts of really interesting
Yeah.
tactics and strategies
Yeah.
for how to handle those different stages.
So one of the things that he really emphasizes, and he actually calls it essential,
Mhm.
is a project startup workshop.
Oh, yeah, kickoff meeting.
Yeah. And I've been to a lot of these workshops,
Mm.
and sometimes they feel like a waste of time.
They can be.
So how do you make sure that this
Mhm.
is actually valuable?
So Kendrick stresses the importance of making it interactive
Okay.
and engaging.
So not just death by PowerPoint.
No.
Okay.
You want to have brainstorming sessions.
Yeah.
You want to have collaborative exercises.
Yeah.
Maybe even some team building activities.
Okay, so it's really about getting people involved
It is.
from the outset.
Yes, creating that sense of shared ownership.
Shared ownership. I like that. Okay.
And don't underestimate the power of face-to-face interaction.
Okay, but what about those times when you can't get everyone together?
Right.
Like, what if you're working with a virtual team?
So Kendrick acknowledges that reality,
Mm-hmm.
and he suggests that even a virtual workshop
Okay.
using video conferencing and online tools
Yeah.
can be effective.
Okay.
But the key is to still be intentional
Yeah.
about creating those opportunities for interaction.
So maybe like breakout rooms, icebreakers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we've got our kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
We've got everybody on board.
hopefully.
We've got our team in place.
Right.
Now, how do we actually start planning the work?
So when it comes to planning,
Yeah,
Kendrick is a huge advocate for involving the team.
in the planning process.
Yes.
Okay. I can see how that would be helpful,
Mm-hmm.
but I can also see how that could backfire.
It could.
Like, what if people try to shirk responsibility?
Right.
Or what if they underestimate
They might.
the amount of effort required?
Right, but Kendrick argues that the benefits
Okay.
outweigh the risks.
Okay, why is that?
Because when people feel ownership
Mm-hmm.
over the plan,
Yeah.
they're more likely to be committed.
Committed to seeing it through.
Exactly.
Okay, and I guess it also taps into those influence strategies we talked about before.
It does.
Like, if I give you a say
Right.
in how this project is going to be run,
Exactly.
you're more likely to be helpful.
More likely to reciprocate.
Exactly. Okay, I like that. And I guess
Yeah.
it also taps into the power of expertise
Mm-hmm.
because the team might have insights that I don't have.
They might.
Okay. All right, so we've got a plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we actually make sure that
Right.
that things stay on track?
How do you keep things moving forward?
Yeah, how do I keep things moving forward without constantly nagging people?
Communication.
Communication.
Communication is key.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
So Kendrick stresses the importance
Mm-hmm.
of clear and consistent communication
Okay.
throughout the project lifecycle.
Okay.
And he talks about the importance of both
Okay.
formal and informal communication.
Okay, so give me an example of formal communication.
So formal communication would be things like
Okay.
regular status meetings,
Okay.
maybe a weekly project report,
Okay.
things like that.
Okay, and then informal communication.
Informal communication would be things like quick check-ins,
Mm.
one-on-one conversations, maybe just dropping by someone's desk.
Okay, or in the virtual world, maybe like a quick instant message.
Exactly, or a video call.
Yeah, okay. And I think that's something that I struggle with
Yeah.
because I get so focused on the tasks
Mm-hmm.
and the deadlines
Yeah.
that I forget to just check in with people.
Right. It's easy to forget that human element.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's so important.
Okay, so just scheduling regular one-on-ones with my team members
Yes.
can make a big difference.
It can.
Okay, so what about when things go wrong?
Right, because they always do.
They always do. So how do we course correct?
So Kendrick provides a really helpful framework
Okay,
that he calls the control cycle.
the control cycle. Okay, tell me about that.
So it starts with gathering information.
Okay, information about what?
Information about the project,
Okay.
how it's progressing,
Hmm.
what the challenges are.
So both the hard data from our metrics
Yes.
and the soft data
On the soft data.
from our conversation.
From your converse. I like that he emphasizes both.
It's important to have both sides.
Okay, so we've gathered the data, we've identified the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Then you need to analyze that data
Okay.
to figure out what's causing the problem.
Okay.
And then you need to come up with solutions.
So brainstorm solutions.
Involve the team.
Involve the team.
Okay. Their ideas.
Okay, but what if we brainstorm a bunch of solutions?
No.
And none of them are really within my power to implement?
That's where those influence skills come back into play.
Ah, okay.
You might need to make a case
To my sponsor.
to your sponsor or to your peers
Okay.
to get their support.
And if that doesn't work, then maybe escalate the issue
Exactly.
to someone who does have the authority.
Right.
Okay, so it's not about being able to solve every problem myself.
Right.
It's about knowing how to navigate
Exactly.
the system.
It's about being resourceful.
Yes. I like that. And I imagine that
Yeah.
that can actually build credibility
It does.
as a
Yeah.
leader.
It shows that you're proactive,
Yeah.
that you're a problem solver.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about processes. We've talked about influence. We've
Mhm.
talked about communication.
Mm-hmm.
What about motivation?
Ah, yes, motivation.
How do we keep people motivated when
Right.
we don't have the authority to...
You give them raises or promotions.
Exactly.
So Kendrick actually draws on
Mm-hmm.
Hertzberg's motivation theory.
Hertzberg's motivation theory. Remind me what that is.
So Hertzberg's motivation theory
Okay.
distinguishes between two types of factors.
Okay.
Hygiene factors
Okay.
and motivating factors.
Okay. So hygiene factors are things like...
Hygiene factors are things like salary,
Okay.
working conditions,
Benefits.
benefits, exactly.
Okay. And motivating factors are...
Motivating factors are things like
Yeah.
achievement,
Okay.
recognition,
Mm-hmm.
the work itself.
The things that actually make people feel good
Exact.
about the work that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so how do we tap into those motivating factors?
So even if you can't control the hygiene factors,
Right.
you can still influence the motivating factors.
Okay. Give me some examples.
So you can give people more ownership over their work.
Mm-hmm.
You can provide opportunities for growth and development.
Okay.
You can recognize and celebrate their accomplishments,
Even small accomplishments.
even small wins,
Okay.
and you can create a compelling project vision.
A compelling project vision so people understand
Yes.
why they're doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
Okay, and how it connects to the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. All right, well,
Yeah.
we've covered a lot of ground again,
Well, yeah.
but I know there's still more to come.
There is.
So stay tuned as we delve deeper into Kendrick's insights
Yes.
and explore how to apply these principles to different stages of the project lifecycle.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, as we've been talking about all these strategies from results without authority, I can't help but think about some of the projects that I've worked on in the past and how I could have used these strategies to maybe get better results.
For sure.
So one project that comes to mind,
Mm-hmm.
I was tasked with leading a team
Okay.
to implement a new software system,
Okay.
but I had no direct authority
Oh, wow.
over anyone on the team.
So you were really leading without authority.
I was really leading without authority.
How did it go?
It was rough.
Oh, no.
It was really, really rough because I came in and I was trying to take charge.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to dictate how things should be done.
Right.
And it just created so much resentment.
Yeah, you need to get buy-in.
I need to get buy-in,
Right.
but I was going about it completely the wrong way.
You were relying too much on positional authority
Yes.
that you didn't have.
I was trying to use authority that I didn't have,
Exactly.
and it backfired.
It happens.
So if I could go back in time
Yeah.
and do that project over again.
Armed with the insights from Kendrick's book,
Great.
what would I do differently?
That's a great question.
First thing,
Processes.
processes. Okay.
We would have a collaborative process
Right. Get everyone involved.
for establishing the processes.
Right from the beginning.
From the beginning, we would use that is not list
That would have been so helpful.
to set those boundaries up front.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of trying to be the expert and dictate solutions,
Yeah.
I would have tapped into the team's expertise.
Right. Empower them.
Empower them to come up with those
You
solutions.
take ownership
Yeah.
of the project.
And I would have made those informal check-ins
Right. Those one-on-ones.
a priority.
Yeah, just to check in,
To build those relationships,
to see how things are going.
to make sure that people felt heard.
Exactly. Building those relationships.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love so much about Kendrick's book,
Yeah.
is that it's not just a project management manual.
Right.
It's a leadership guide.
It is.
For anyone who wants to make a difference,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their title or position,
It's about influence,
it is about influence.
not authority.
Yeah, okay. So for our listeners who are maybe
Okay.
feeling inspired right now,
Yeah.
and they're ready to put some of these strategies into action,
Mm-hmm.
what are some key takeaways?
Well, first, remember that leading without authority is a skill.
Okay.
You can develop it.
You can learn it.
It's not about your personality.
Right.
It's about applying the right strategies.
So even if you're introverted or shy,
Yes.
you can still be a leader.
Absolutely.
You can still influence people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
Don't underestimate the power of process,
Processes.
even for small things.
Yeah, those bumpers.
Those bumpers to keep things on track.
Okay.
And measurement is your friend.
Measurement. Oh, there it is again.
I know.
I know.
Okay. But use it to identify problems early
Mm-hmm.
and to show the value of your work.
Okay, but remember,
Yes.
it's not just about the numbers.
Right. Don't forget those conversations.
Those check-ins.
Yeah, that human element.
Exactly.
Okay. And finally,
Leading without authority is about empowerment.
empowerment.
Give people what they need to succeed,
The tool.
resources, the support,
The trust.
and then trust them to do their best work.
Yes. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive.
It has been.
I feel like I've learned so much
Me too.
about leading without authority.
Kendrick's book is full of wisdom.
It is.
Yeah.
And remember, folks,
Yeah.
leadership isn't about having all the answers.
It's not.
It's about asking the right questions, listening to your team,
And being willing to learn.
and being willing to learn and adapt.
Exactly.
I love it. And on that note,
Yeah.
that's a wrap
That's a wrap.
on this deep dive into results without authority.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with another deep dive.
See you then.
Until then, keep learning, keep
Yeah.
growing, and keep leading.